What's up guys, this is the Macfox X1 moped style electric bike. Comes in at a very low price point, and I have a coupon code below to save you a little extra. But don't click the link yet, let's see if this bike's any good before you buy it. So there's definitely no rear suspension on this thing, and I'm not even sure if there's front suspension. So this seat better be pretty comfortable. Dude, what in the world is on these tires? I have no idea what this liquid is on here. But let's continue. It's definitely a much more street-friendly tread pattern, which is great because with no suspension, I don't think you're gonna be riding this thing off-road. Dude, whatever that stuff is does not smell great. It smells bad. It's got... What? Oh no, I touched it again. To my surprise, 180mm rotors. I was really expecting to see 160. They are mechanical disc brakes, not the good stuff, not the hydraulics. They'll work, probably won't feel excellent, but we'll see on the review. Interesting, wire for light. Looks like this one comes with a reflector, but you can add a light if you want. Actually, this bike comes in different variations. This is the single battery one, but there is a dual battery version available. The dual battery costs a couple $100 extra, and the extra battery would go right here. So here's a first look at the seat. It's long and black. Definitely looks like two people could fit on this. Definitely got some squish to it. Seems okay. Unusual cable management, but hey, look at the price. A little bit wobbly. Quick fix. It's got some eyelets here to mount something back here, and no fenders on the cheapest version of this bike. The motor that comes on this bike is a 500 watt nominal, 750 watt peak hub motor. Wonder what the controller is. So check it out. This is another controller built into the battery tray. Makes it super easy to swap out if you wanted to. But the stock current limit on this is 18 amps. So that would limit this bike to about 800 and what did it say? 864 watts roughly. And the battery is 48 volt, 10.4 amp hour. About 500 watt hours of energy. If you want to double your range, double the battery. In general, those specs are kind of light compared to what we normally see. And the price is kind of light too. The bike comes with two boxes. This one's got a headlight, got a cool look to it. This one's got everything else. Charger, exactly what I'd expect. 2 amp, take about 5 hours to charge this thing from empty to full for one battery. Macfox manual. Pedals, nothing else exciting. All right, dudes, we gotta look at those forks. This might be the first bike I've seen without front suspension. Does it not actually have front suspension? They really don't have front suspension on this bike. I'm genuinely curious to see how this thing's gonna ride without any suspension at all. I mean, technically, if you lower the pressure in the tires, that's kind of suspension. I mean, cushion anyway. I love how this bike gives an absolute giant to any comfort at all. One benefit of absolutely no suspension and a small battery is this bike is a lot lighter than most moped style electric bikes. Leave it to those people in the USA designing this thing. The bolts on this stem are substantial though. Handlebars, BMX style. Handlebars sweep back just a little bit. And to my surprise, the mechanical brake levers, they've got like a little rubber soft touch thing on there. Grips are round and actually have a nice thickness to them. We'll check that display out in just a moment. Light switch, very simple cockpit. Here's the mounting point for, I think I saw some sort of bag you could get. Oh yeah, no gears on this bike, which I think is fine for a moped. You gotta go beast mode now. Mechanical brakes. And just in case you care what the pedals look like, let's get this battery on here. I've got to admit, this bike actually looks pretty dope. I mean, I think so anyway. Seat is fairly wide. This thing is straight blacked out. The sticker will come off if you want it off. It's fired up. Very basic display. What kind of options we got? Trip, battery voltage, great. And I don't know what these zeros are. Odometer, trip, battery voltage. Oh, that's probably motor power. I hope. Let's give it a little rev. No, 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 no. Oh, you get 5 levels of pedal assist probably. Oh no, 3 levels of pedal assist. Eco, off, eco, mid, high. I mean, that's all you need. Let's try high. I don't know what those zeros are then. Is that kilometers or miles per hour? Probably miles, because it says it peaks out at 25 and, well, headlight has this little like halo ring that comes on. Actually looks pretty dope. Light switch. All right, guys, let's take the Macfox X1 out for a ride. We're gonna see if we can make it go a little faster. So I actually just realized last night, this is actually a carbon copy almost of the Super73 ZX, which is like a $2,400 bike. It's literally almost the exact same. Of course, we're gonna run the Strava to see what kind of distance we get out of this battery. It's not gonna be great, but I'll tell you why in just a moment. So before we do an acceleration test on this bike, we're gonna do the 20% hill grade test, see what kind of torque it has. Full throttle, I weigh 200 pounds, ready to go. So it doesn't give you a lot of torque right off the line. Let's get a rollout. So a little bit of a rollout here. Full throttle now. Kind of ramps on the power. And with a little bit of a rollout, still not gonna quite do it. And there's no gears, so one more here. One more with a bit more of a rollout and maybe put a little pedaling in this time. Full throttle, we can make it up the 20% grade. So not a great hill climber. Actually, not a good hill climber at all, but that's not what this bike is for. Okay, a few observations on this bike, man. Handling is kind of wonky, man. Yeah, when you're going about this speed, like it gets like, I don't know, it's a little unusual. Has no suspension at all, so I'm running the rear tire pressure pretty low. These big meaty tires can kind of act as suspension and eat some bumps up in the road, so I'm relying on that for my suspension. Next observation I've made with this bike is, despite it being a dual crown fork, you can turn the wheel really far. A lot of times on these dual crown forks, they kind of really inhibit how far you can turn the wheel. This one does not. We're gonna do 2 acceleration tests on this bike, one into the wind and one back. We'll take the average. I weigh 200 pounds. It's on max throttle assist. We're gonna do twist throttle only. Ready, go. Into the wind. 10, 15, 18, 19, 20 probably, 20. GPS lag just a little bit, and we're still gaining a little bit, up to about 22 into the wind. And I'm 6'5", I have a pretty big surface area here. If you weigh less and you're shorter, it'll be a little faster. The seat actually feels comfortable. I like that it's wide. Brakes don't squeak or anything. We'll give them a test here in a bit. Yeah, I like that the seat is really wide and long. I mean, I feel like 2 small individuals could fit on this bike. Not probably 2 adults. It might not have enough power, really. We'll try and crank it up here in a bit. One more acceleration run this direction. Wind is to our back now. Ready, go. Eases on that power. GPS lag just a little bit. 15 and 20 probably due to GPS lag. What's the top speed? We'll try and crank up the top speed in the settings. It's saying 25 on here. This is showing 23. Yeah, it's topping out at 25.6 according to that, 24. The ride is actually not awful despite it not having any suspension on flat ground. I probably want to be taking this, you know, this probably isn't your #1 option for going off-roading, obviously, with no suspension. A little bit of a downhill. I can feel the motor cutting out on me electronically after you get to 25. We're gonna have to try and mod that. We did start on a full battery, 54.4 volts. It shows you your voltage right there. Display is pretty small. Is there some like condensation on that or something? Like all of a sudden something is appearing on the display. So I like that it has voltage. I wonder if it shows your wattage. I don't know what, it just shows straight zeros for this mode. And then your miles, trip. So I like that the throttle is a full twist throttle and not one of those like dinky quarter twist throttles. I don't really like those ones. These are just easier to operate. There's a little bit of a deadband there in the beginning, just pretty much normal like my 72 volt Saran has, really. So I like the throttle. Power delivery on the throttle, probably only about 10% of the bar is the actual like operation zone of that throttle. Like this last bit of it here, it's just full throttle. It doesn't matter if I'm, you know, full throttle or like this far. And then in the beginning, there's the deadband of about, that's not doing anything. So you just get like a little bit in the middle there. And the brakes, they are mechanical disc brakes, 180mm rotors, which is good, but they don't feel excellent because they are mechanical and not hydraulic. Now this bike is pretty freaking cheap. Even on the Super73 ZX, which they charge like 2,500 bucks for, they have basically the same specs as this bike. There's no suspension and it's mechanical disc brakes on that bike as well. I like that these ones do have that rubber pad on the front of the grip, so they don't feel bad to your fingers to grab the levers, but the feedback from them, they just feel like mechanical disc brakes. So, you know, they work. We'll give them a true test here soon. Actually, let's just slam on them right now for about 20. Oh yeah, back tire locks up. Now would probably be a good time to mention I have not even pedaled this bike once, so maybe we should try that. And I've only been on high power. Hey, is that I think I recognize that bike. Obviously, you put it on eco mode, full throttle. It gives you a little less power. It only brings you up to about 10 miles an hour. And when on eco mode, let's just tap the plus button. That'll boost us, gives us a immediate boost of power up to about 16 and a half, 17. Handling on this bike is definitely a little goofy, and I don't know what the reason is. In case you need to alert any ducks of your presence. Oh, it doesn't have a horn. The ducks are not gonna move for flashing the light, but they will poop on the sidewalk. I scared the poop out of you. And speaking of poop, you probably wouldn't want to run any over on the basic version of this bike because there are no fenders on this bike, which does help keep the price down. A little bit of sunshine, man, that's what I like to see. So to comment on the handling and the steering, it's like the wheel kind of starts to turn and then like you almost have to like push it back straight with your left hand. I don't know, man, it's different than like a normal bike I review. That's really all I can say. So I'm gonna get in the menu here and try and change some settings. Holding the plus and minus, and what I saw here was this P1-0 says 25.4, so I feel like that's the max speed. I'm gonna go ahead and just bump it on up to 45, 50, 70. All right, I think let's leave it on 69. Let's see if it made any changes by trying it with the wheel off the ground. Oh yeah, now it goes up to like 30.9. All right, power delivery still seems like it eases on. It is an 18 amp controller, so about 900 watts of peak output roughly. So in theory, if you increase that setting, so there might be a little bit of a lag on this throttle. Ready, go. Oh yeah, there's a small amount of lag, about half second, quarter second. You can measure it yourself. Sorry about that earlier, duckies. I'm friendly, I promise. One benefit of the lack of suspension and a small battery on this bike is it does help keep it relatively lightweight. This bike's like in the upper 60 pounds, whereas a lot of times these moped style bikes are kind of more like 80, 90 pounds. So if you're looking for something lightweight, that is one benefit. All right, with everything unlocked now, let's go ahead and try 0 to top speed. Ready, go. Has not changed the launch at all, which I don't know if you can really call that a launch. So if you weigh less, you'll have less load on the motor. And you can maybe get a higher speed. With my weight, we're still topping out about the same speed. I mean, I guess I could try pedaling to get a higher speed. Didn't think of that. Let's see if I can pedal a little bit to help it. Not really, man. I don't know, I could probably pedal and get like maybe an extra mile or two out of it, but this is pretty much top speed on this bike, boys. Let's check the pedal assist lag. No, I'm not even sure if anybody cares about that. So not pedaling. Oh, it kicks right on. So really no lag on that cadence sensor. Not pedaling, power. Not pedaling, power. So pretty minimal lag. Good. All right, quick little brake test from about 20. This is, yeah, 20. Skrrr. Yeah, I mean, they're fine. Mechanical brakes. Uno mas, 20. Back tire's locking up. Yeah, man, brakes are fine. You know, they're just mechanical disc brakes, and they just never feel as good as hydraulic. They've got the stopping power, though. I mean, they're 180 millimeter rotors. Howdy, buddy. Hey, you want to take the picture for me? All right, guys, final thoughts on the Macfox X1. I only did like 6 miles on this bike today. Battery is showing 49 volts, which according to the lithium ion battery chart, that comes out to right around 65% remaining. And I weigh 200 pounds. I was using only throttle. I did not pedal this bike once, and I was doing like high speed runs. Company claims you could do 38 to 76 miles. If you're cruising at slower speeds and putting some pedaling in, you might hit 40. It really just depends on how you ride it. It's a smaller bike, smaller battery, smaller motor, you know, 500 watt, 10.5 amp hour. When I look at this bike, I compare it to the Super73 ZX, and that bike is pretty much the exact same as this, just a slightly smaller, very slightly smaller battery, and over double the price for the Super73 ZX. It's like 2,400 bucks for that bike, and literally almost the exact same thing. So really, who is this bike for? Would I recommend this bike? I mean, if you're looking for a bike under $1,000 moped style that goes about 25 miles an hour, that's a little bit gentler on the power, and realistically maybe get 25, 30 miles. If you pedal a little bit, maybe 35 miles. Really just depends. This is actually an all right option if you're okay with absolutely no suspension and keeping everything lightweight. I mean, this bike's like 65 pounds. A lot of these moped style e-bikes, they're more like 80 or 90 pounds. So this is like a little bit more manageable for, you know, a smaller person. It's an all right option. I found the handling to be a little bit wonky compared to most bikes I review, but it's fine. It's a pretty stylish bike with the all blacked out appearance. I think this is actually a pretty sleek looking bike. So it's decent. If you want to grab one, click the link below this video in the description box. Of course, that would help support my reviews here on Tail Happy TV. Price is not bad, and there is a discount code below the video. However, if this is not enough bike for you, you're looking for a little bit more, you can watch this video next. Thanks for watching, guys. Give me a thumbs up, drop a comment, catch you next time.